Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles. We're your host. I'm Donnie.
Chris?
I'm Bill.
All right, guys, in this episode, we are going to discuss the disappearance of Asha Degree. Asha was born on August 5th, 1990, to parents Harold and Aquila Degree. But to give a little background, Chris, at the time when Asha disappeared, he wasn't living around here, so this is pretty much new material to him, and he may have some questions about this case that a lot of people, that followed it from the beginning may not have, so it might be pretty good. And Bill's pretty familiar with the case too. All right, guys, every year there are approximately 800,000 children that go missing. This hit pretty close to home just this past weekend because there was a little boy missing here in Cleveland County for a few hours, but he was found later that evening by his brother. He was wrapped up in a front porch rug, asleep under a tree. And then last week, there was a little boy, 3 years old, that went missing in Craven County. He spent 48 hours away from home, out in the woods. The temperatures got down in the teens that night, pouring rain, and survived. No hypothermia or anything. And they asked him when they found him, how did you survive? What happened? He said, a bear took care of him. So there are some really conflicting theories going on out there about him. Some people are even saying that a Bigfoot may have taken care of him. And hey, who knows, Bill, Chris, we may do a Bigfoot episode.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, or even Nobby. All right, let's get into this case of Asha Degree. She went missing in the early morning hours of Valentine's Day, February the 14th, 2000. Asha was, according to all records and interviews that I've seen, was a pretty sheltered child, her and her brother. She had an older brother, O'Brien. But on Sunday, February the 13th, the children went to church, and then after church, they went to a relative's house for lunch and then went home. Later that afternoon, Harold, her father, went to a second shift job, and then later that evening, there was a bad storm that night.
Yeah, it rained hard that day.
Yeah.
That night.
There was also, that night, there was a power outage at the home due to a car wreck because of the storm. So the family had to, I guess, alter from their routine. Usually about around 8 o'clock, their mother always give them a bath and put them to bed. But since the power was out, they went to bed that night without a bath. But her plans was to get them up the next morning early so she could draw their bath and get them ready for school the next day. Well, Harold, their father, came home that night around midnight, 12:30, and when he got home, he checked on the kids. They were both asleep in their bed. And then, I guess, him coming in from work, like he just don't go straight to bed. He'll sit up and watch TV and chill out for a little bit. Well, he went to bed around 2:30 that night and checked on the kids again, and everybody was still asleep in their bed. Well, there's some conflicting reports on this about when their mother Aquila woke up. Some places say that she got up around 5 to 5:45. She even gave an interview with Jet Magazine that she got up around 5:45 that morning. But when she got up to call the kids for their bath, Asha wasn't to be found. She was not in her bed anywhere. Her brother even stated that he had heard her moving around in the middle of the night, heard her bed squeaking, and he thought that she was just, adjusting herself, turning over or something, and didn't really look because, who does that stuff? Well, when she got up, or their mother got up, she wasn't in her bed. She called their aunt that they had lunch with the previous day, called their house, and she wasn't there. She even called.
I think they live close, don't they?
Yeah, all the family lived right there on this street, pretty close together. So as they called across the street to Harold's mother, if they had seen Asha, and nobody had seen her there either. So that's when the police got involved. The search started around 6:40 a.m. The first police officer arrived on the scene. They had police dogs, but none of the dogs could pick up her scent. But everything I've read, that when you got rain, they think that the scent will wash the rain the rain, yeah, the rain will wash the scent away, but actually it brings the scent out.
Huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what everything I've read, but the cold will make the scent drop, but warm will bring the scent up. But even whether you got cold or warm weather, if you got rain, it's going to bring the scent up. They say it brings it out.
Okay, I'll hand interrupt here. I got a couple questions for you. Haven't done this myself when I was a kid. I guess my first question would probably be, were there any reports of Asha ever being a sleepwalker? I know whenever I did it, it wasn't crazy for me to actually, walk out of the house. But, my parents would always hear me. We just lived in a single wide trailer, so anytime the door would open, of course, they were going to hear it. So was there any reports of anything like that going on?
Yeah, actually, there are some theories out there. I don't know if it's an official report, but there are some theories of her being a sleepwalker. I don't think the family ever said that she walked in her sleep, but I know the clothes that she had on that was described her wearing when she disappeared wasn't her normal pajamas. I know that because did you ever get up in the middle of the night and change your clothes and as a sleepwalker or anything?
I don't recall changing my clothes. I just would remember, of course, when you sleepwalk, you don't remember anything, but I just remember being woke up. One time I was beside a creek down below the house. I mean, it wasn't too far of a walk, but it was far enough where you would be like, days when you get woke up. But I guess that would kind of lead to my second question. What kind of house did they live in?
They lived in a ranch-style house.
It's a brick house.
It's just a brick ranch-style house. It wasn't a very big house, I don't think. But it was a brick home in a fairly close neighborhood. The houses were close together. But it was a populated little community. It's not like houses were strung out half a mile or a mile apart. It was pretty tight-knit area.
Not to hear somebody open a door and close it. I mean, open the door, one thing, okay, close it.
And the door was locked. All reports say that the door was locked when she left.
But when they woke up next morning, was the door locked?
Yes. When her mother got up, the door was locked.
Well, as we'll get into later, I mean, it appears that she left on her own.
Yeah.
So if you're leaving on your own and you're only, I mean, even if you're 7 or 8 years old, and you're going to try to make as little noise as you can. So that would kind of rule out the sleepwalking deal.
Was this before cell phones?
This was in 2000. I think cell phones were out then, but they were very but crude. I mean, they were.
Yeah, there wasn't any smartphones.
No.
Probably the box style Nokia phones and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say most kids at that time didn't have a cell phone either. Probably one member of the family had a cell phone at that time.
Did her mom have one? Or her
I
dad?
do not know. I know they did not have any internet in the home.
I mean, you hear about kidnappings or something like that whenever somebody's texting somebody or a child's texting somebody. Then in the middle of the night, somebody will come after them, pick them up, whatever.
From everything I've read in interviews, Asha and her brother were very sheltered children. I mean, their lives centered around family, church, and friends, and that was it. They did not have, like I say, they didn't have internet at home. They barely let the kids watch TV, and they played sports, and that was pretty much it. Their church life was pretty much the center of their life. They were very sheltered.
Well, and getting back to the internet, I can remember, just thinking about it. I can remember when I finally got internet. It had to be around 2000, 2001, because I can remember getting Windows 98 and going, well, I don't want something that's 2-3 years old. So, that's another top for another day. But
And more likely, it'd been dial-up back then too, right?
oh yeah, it was dial-up.
So,
yeah, I don't know how much internet plays a part in this.
yeah, I don't think it plays any part in it myself. So, like I said, guys, Asha disappeared in the early morning hours of February the 14th, 2000. And when she left home, it appears that their home was just right off of Highway 18 between Falston and Shelby. And she was spotted on Highway 18 by a couple of motorists actually walking towards Shelby. One motorist even turned around a couple times just to see if that was what he saw, a child walking down the highway. And when he came back around the last time, he actually stopped and rolled his window down and confronted her, asking her if she needed help. But I think it spooked her. From all accounts, it spooked her, and she darted off into the woods. And we're not talking about like a heavy wooded area. It was just, some sparse trees here and there. And when she took off toward the woods, he just went on his way. And then another motorist, I think it was a Sundrop truck driver, spotted her after that. But for several weeks, the police combed that area. They actually stopped traffic for several weeks after that, during a time period, and asking motorists if they had saw anything of her. Then later, it was a couple days later, I think it was February the 15th, candy wrappers were found in a shed behind Turner Upholstery. I think it was candy wrappers, a pencil, a marker, and even a Mickey Mouse hair bow that was hers. And that those items were confirmed hers, even the candy wrappers. Students at Falston Elementary School confirmed that those were the same type of candy that were given out as Valentine treats to the rest of the class. So those were confirmed as her items. On February the 16th, Asha's mother, Aquila, realized that Asha's bedroom was missing her favorite clothing, such as a pair of blue jeans with a red stripe. A week later, over 9,000 man-hours had been invested in the search. It was like a 3-mile radius from where she was last seen. Flyers were posted all over the area. Leads came in from everywhere. So after her articles were found in that shed behind Turner's Upholstery, the case went cold. There was nothing else found about Asha Degree until August the 3rd, 2001, when a contractor was clearing some land between Falston and Morgan, about 26 miles away from where Asha disappeared. Her book bag and some other items were unearthed. So what's weird about this, her book bag, when it was found, the contractor that found it opened it up and really didn't think much about it. It was double bagged inside 2 trash bags. And inside of it was a piece of paper with her name on it and a phone number. Now, since then, there have been many theories and, rumors about things that were in the book bag, but officially, no one has ever said, or the FBI or the authorities have never said what was actually inside the bag. Some theories say that it was her clothing, family photos, but no one ever really knows. And the guy that found it actually didn't think much about it. He put the book bag aside, and then the next day he was eating breakfast with his wife, and he mentioned it to her, and she was pretty familiar with the case. And they called the authorities right then and turned it over to the police. And in 2004, acting on a tip reportedly received from an inmate in a county jail, the sheriff's office began digging in an intersection of Lawndale. Bones were found, but it turned up to be an animal. So as you can see, guys, they've had several tips over the years, but nothing has really panned out. The family have taken several steps to keep Asha's story alive. They've even been on the Montel Williams show. Yeah, they got a big billboard up on Highway 18 South where she disappeared. They've been on Oprah Winfrey. And like I said before, Aquila, Asha's mother, even gave an interview for Jet Magazine. And in February 2015, the FBI announces that they were re-examining this case and re-interviewing witnesses. They also announced that they upped the reward of $25,000 for information leading to arrest and conviction of a person or persons responsible for her disappearance. A community group is also offering $20,000 reward, which upped the total amount for her reward of $45,000. 15 months later, in May of 2016, their reinvestigation had turned up a possible new lead. They disclosed that Asha may have been seen getting into a dark green, early 70s Lincoln Continental Mark IV or possibly a Ford Thunderbird from the same era. Now, those two automobiles looked similar. I think the Ford Thunderbird has a wheel well on the back for the spare tire. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah, the Lincoln would.
Oh, the Lincoln? Okay. I think I read that somewhere. They look similar as far as size, but they're just a little bit different. And also describing having some rust around its wheels, but nothing has ever panned out around it. They've even investigated who may have owned those two types of vehicles from that time period, but they can't find anything on it. Maybe the car was destroyed or sold or something happened to it. Okay, and as of last year in October 2018, the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office appealed for information from the public about 2 items of interest. The first item is a children's book called McGilligot's Pool. I hope I'm saying that. I hope I'm not butchering that at all. It's a book written by Dr. Seuss, which was borrowed from the Falston Middle School library in the early 2000s, and also a New Kids on the Block concert T-shirt. An investigator said these items are critical to solving the case. All right, guys, I've hit a lot of high points in this disappearance of Asha degree. And Chris, I know you're busting at seams with a lot of questions. You've been writing stuff down left and right. What do you have on your mind, dude?
All right, well, I'll start off with, I do have a couple questions here. First of all, what are the other reports as far as what time the mom woke up?
It's conflicting. It's about like I think a 30 to 45 minute window.
And these are reports she's given?
These are reports she has given. Anywhere from one saying that she woke up at 5:45 to get the kids ready for school. And then I think Jet Magazine reported her saying something different. So, I mean, when you get up and you don't think about stuff like that, not everybody's going to think up thinking they're going to have a kid missing in the morning. So I can see where that could be.
Yeah, that's the last thing you're going to worry about at that time. In my case, I get up basically the same time every morning. I'm going to work, but sometimes I get up at 5:15. Sometimes I wait and get up at 5:35. So.
But you got to remember this next morning wasn't normal for them. There was a storm the night before. Yeah. They had no power. So the kids went to bed without their normal bath at night. They were going to have to get up the next morning and take their bath before they went to school. So things were totally different for them. I can see that because the power's been out at my house before. And, you just have to change the way you're doing things. You don't remember.
Okay, I can understand that, but why put a time on it if you don't know what time it was?
Well, I'm sure
it's a guesstimation.
Yeah, but do a range. Like, it could be even... if I say, Bill, what time I wake up for work? You just said you wake up a couple different times. Mm-hmm. It depends on which morning it is. Why not just say 5:15 to 5:45, somewhere in that time range?
Okay, not to be argumentative, but to focus in on a 15 to 20 minute window when your life is, you don't know where your life is right now. You forget everything. You forget what you had plans. You don't have plans anymore. You've got one singular goal in mind: find my child. To me, 15 to 20 minute time frame that she might have said something, and then got to thinking later. When a policeman takes your statement, he takes it as gospel truth. But as you're thinking, and the next person asks you, says, "Oh wait, it was actually more closer to this. I was thinking we got up same." So to me, this case wouldn't be. To me, it's not hinging on 20 to 30 minute discrepancy in when she said she got up.
Okay, well, I understand that. The reason why I ask is because usually something like this happens. Usually it's the same story, no matter what time period it is.
Usually this never happens. It's never happened to me.
Okay, no, I'm saying usually whenever there's a disappearance, usually when witnesses are asked something, the stories stay the same or similar.
Now, I've seen it change several times. And you got to remember, this morning, their life, I can't even imagine what was going through their minds as a child missing. Their life was in total chaos.
Think of it this way.
Tearing up the phone.
I give you 3 colors or 3 numbers, and I say, remember these 3 numbers. And then I turn around and smack you in the face, hit you square in the nose. You just forgot the numbers, the colors, anything. That is what happened to this woman.
I understand.
So
I'm not talking about right at that moment. I'm talking about years after. If she was asked, why would the story change? Or
What?
if she went from saying, this time I woke up here, and then and yeah, I can understand going from the first probably year she's probably still dazed from it. But if it's been years since, and she changes her story, or she goes back to original after already changing it before, why change it?
There are things that happened to me before, and I've told it the same way, and then my wife said, no, we really weren't there at that time. You remember we had to do this first. And oh, okay, yeah. To me, I don't think the case hinges on it. Here's stuff that the thing that kind of intrigues me, and not to change the subject totally. I mean, we're still on the same subject. But the guy finding the book bag, who in this area does not know the name Asha Degree?
This was in a whole different county now.
Yeah, I know, but-
It was 26 miles away. It was a different county.
Yeah.
He still would have heard about it though.
I-
It was
yeah.
all over the news. I don't remember a
you
lot
did.
from it, but I remember hearing it on the news.
But
And I
my
remember when they
thing
found
is-
a book bag.
You find a book bag that seems like it was double wrapped to prevent something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell somebody. That's me. And then he casually told his wife the next day. I'm not saying he's in it, but I'm just saying, who does that, man?
I mean,
You know?
if you're going to get rid of a book bag, you'd either burn it or
Yeah.
throw it off a cliff somewhere where it won't be found instead of double bagging it.
Somebody in Yugoslavia, man.
Yes, yeah. But instead of double bagging it and burying it,
And other things, I mean, here's something else too. Like I say, you split hairs on certain points all day long, and it's got to, if there was a discrepancy about where somebody was or something, I can understand the time frame. But like, who saw her get in that car that they're talking about? And I know they ain't gonna tell us everything, but to me, whoever said, "Oh, I saw her getting this Lincoln or this Thunderbird,"
there's a lot of information on this case that the sheriff's department aren't releasing.
And I understand
There's a lot. Yeah, I know. And they won't tell you why they're looking for this particular book from the Boston school or this New Kids on the Block t-shirt. They're not telling anybody why they're looking for it. There's something about this case that they're very interested in.
What about the person that said they saw her running through the woods after they tried to talk to her?
yeah.
I mean,
I guess they were forthcoming. I mean, they interviewed. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they were cleared. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
ever happened from it. But he said
yeah, go ahead.
she was frightened and
Yeah.
darted off into the woods.
Which tells me she didn't want to go back home.
Well, no, it tells me that whoever that person was a stranger, and
I mean,
and
I
she
know
might
my
have-
kids not talk.
I mean, she might have been scared. Like you said, she might have been sleepwalking and
She might
woke
have
up,
woke up.
and was totally away from where she was supposed to be at.
Okay, well, so if she was sleepwalking, then yeah, you ain't supposed to wake up somebody sleepwalking because it makes them, I don't know, I guess freak out. I never had to do that. I never really. I don't remember ever getting woke up and freaking out or anything like that. It seemed like I would always kind of wake myself up somehow. But whenever you do sleepwalk, I do know that some people do kind of freak out and are confused and that type of deal. But I don't think she would run towards the woods if she was sleepwalking and got woke up.
Well, she's probably scared of this guy stopping out
Yeah.
on the highway.
Yeah, but it's raining. I mean, you think that the rain, being out in the elements, would probably scare her before that would.
But if she was sleepwalking, you wake up, first thing you do is see some stranger you don't know. I would hope my kids would run away from the stranger. I mean, not in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it was reported too that she was scared of dogs and the dark too. So I mean, and she was probably scared of this guy stopping on the side of the road, say, "Hey, you want to ride, or can I help you, or something?"
I mean, something took her out there. So if she wasn't sleepwalking, then if she was scared of the dark, she wanted to get out of the house so bad that she would go take a walk through the dark in the pouring rain and through a storm, which also would make me wonder how home life was for her to want to get away that bad. Not pointing fingers, not accusing anybody of anything. I know nothing about this. I am just asking questions. I watch some documentaries on Netflix all the time, and I know there's a reason for everything, and that's in life. There's a reason for everything that happens. Everything happens for a reason. So, if God forbid there was anything going on at home that made her want to get out that bad, where she would go against her fears just to get away. I mean, it makes sense to me than this. More so than the sleepwalking.
Unless somebody she knew very personally promised her something and lured her away from home.
But they're in a tight knit upbringing, like you said earlier. So it had to have been, in my opinion. First of all, if my kid wakes up in the middle of the night, I'm going to hear it, because, like I said, I know I'm a light sleeper anyway. But even if I'm not, I'm going to hear a door open. I'm never far away from my kid where I don't hear a door open.
Yeah.
Or shut. So even if it was early in the morning, even if, I was, dead dog tired, I'm still going to wake up. But
you're putting a lot of stuff. Kids can be sneaky if they have to.
yeah, but why would she want to be that sneaky, man?
I'm just saying, like Donnie said, even in tight groups, you can have people that have bad motives, and I'm not saying that's what this is. I mean, and there again, this is on totally a different topic, and I'm not even bringing it up, but I want to be a superhero until I was probably 10 years old, 12 years old. If this kid's 7, 8 years old, they can be told and made to believe anything, and it may not even be a close relative or a close friend, but it could be an acquaintance. And they just, that's why this has gone on for 19 years.
19 years this year.
19 years. This is why this is going on. There are so many questions. I think if there was any validity to that form of questioning, it would have been brought, if that's the situation, then it's going to come out. It's not going to take 19 plus years to come out. Things of that nature come out quick. Somebody caves, somebody says, I'm not protecting anybody. So I just think you're going down a dead end road in that thinking. Now, not totally. I mean, she could have an acquaintance or somebody or even a friend that says, hey, meet me at so. Man, you wouldn't believe, just today, Parker come to me, my son. Well, he told us, he said, I don't have to go to school tomorrow. We said, no, you going to school? He goes, no, it's President's Day. All my friends told me it was. He's 17 years old. He was prepared to stay out of school tomorrow. And we had to show him no, son, it's not. So a 7 and 8 year old, if a 17-year-old can be easily duped or swayed, a 7 and 8 year old is putty. They are putty in your hands. And, so I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just saying that's getting back. That's why we're 19 years going, where's Asha degree? My thing, and it's been that way through, Asha is, you say she's born in August? My oldest son was born in October that same year. The year he played ball, the first year he played ball, was the same team that she had been on the year before. They wore her number on their jerseys in, support, to keep looking, to keep it in the public eye. And so he may have seen her in class or at school, because they went to the same school. But my takeaway, my thing, where I get my feeling is, and I have full and total sympathy for the parents and the family. This girl's going to be, she's 26 years old. This girl is the age range of 26 years old, and I would hate to not know where my son has been from the age of 7 or 8 till now. That's where it kills me at, and I can't imagine.
That's a parent's worst nightmare, no doubt about it.
And there's no closure one way or the other. That's even worse. I personally don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it every day.
like I said before, I mean, they have a very strong church family too.
That's what it takes. It's got to be.
Yeah, from everything I've read and researched on, their family and church is very, very tight. So the only thing I'm thinking is somebody lured her, promising her something out of that house.
I mean, okay. I have two daughters as well. I can understand that, things happen and you can't control it, and they're just going to happen, and cards are going to fall the way they're going to fall, and sometimes it ain't in their favor. And I can only imagine what they're going through, because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if something happened to my kids. And I think, as a guy who watches, documentaries all the time, and every case is different, I know this. Every situation is different, I know this. But somebody knows something. And I feel like, didn't you say earlier that her parents never were, they never considered them ever a suspect?
No.
Ain't parents always suspects whenever a kid disappears?
I'm not a policeman or authority on that subject, but I mean, to me, if I was in a policeman situation, I would, everybody close knit like that, I would be under suspicion first. A little more background on her. At the time Asha disappeared, they were reading a book in her class called The Whipping Boy, and it's a book about a little boy who runs away from home and goes on these crazy adventures. And a lot of people speculate that she played into that book and she wanted to live that life.
Yeah, and me having said what I said just a little while ago about 7, 8-year-olds and 9, 10-year-olds are impressionable kids. I mean, they're putty in your hands, and I did not know that till you brought that up just now. And that changes me, but it adds to my theories and my what happens, what ifs, what happened.
And I know the Saturday before she disappeared, they had a basketball game, and Asha was the point guard on that team, and her team lost. She fouled out. I mean, she was like the star player of the team. She fouled out, and she blamed herself for the team losing that day, and was very, very upset from everything I've read. But later that afternoon, the family stayed for O'Brien's game when he played, and they said by the end of his game, she was coming around, being her normal self again, laughing with her friends and joking and stuff. But she was obviously traumatized by losing that game too. So, there's theories that, maybe she walked away because of that, or she may walked away because of that book they were reading.
I mean, we know that she left the house on her own will. She left, the door was locked. So
it was locked. She locked it behind her.
She locked it behind her. So she obviously wanted to be quiet. She obviously wanted to get out bad enough to walk through the elements. It raining.
No coat,
and it being dark. She wanted to get away enough to when she saw somebody, she ran through the woods rather than trying to run back home. You said they found the candy wrappers, and what else was found in the shed?
A pencil, marker, and a Mickey Mouse hair bow.
So she made a pit stop there, obviously. So she knew that her surroundings good enough, and I guess that's right by the school, ain't it?
What's that now?
The shed?
No,
it was up
towards Shelby.
Towards Shelby.
Okay. Well, she probably knew the area enough to where she knew where she was going to stop at.
Because her school bus traveled this road every day, so she was familiar with this area.
And I mean, I can only go about what you tell me. I mean, I'm not an expert here. All I have is theoretical questions here. That's it. I'm not no genius or expert or anything like that. So I'm not trying to come off that way. Yeah. But I mean, going by what you tell me, it sounds more like to me that she wanted to get away. Now, why she wanted to get away is a whole different topic. I would hope that there was nothing going on to where she was just unhappy at home.
That book, man, that's blowing my mind, because like I say, it's the first I've heard of that.
And I don't know anything about that book, but you said the kid he wanted to run away?
It's a story about a boy who runs away from home and goes on some crazy, fun adventures.
Why did he run away? Did it say?
I haven't read the book. I just know what the book is about, the title of the book, and what it's about. And her class was reading this book at the time she disappeared. Let's just finalize this thing up by getting our own thoughts and opinions on this and what we think may have happened to Asha Degree. Personally, I think there's a couple theories that I lean toward. The first one is the sleepwalking theory, where she left in the middle of the night and was possibly hit by a motorist, and whoever hit her took her body and disposed of it and just got rid of it, and hopefully everything would be forgotten. That's one of my theories. And another theory is, like I said, this family was tight knit. Everybody was close. Their motto was church, family, and friends. And to me, somebody lured her out of that house. Somebody promised her something to get her out of the house, to keep quiet. I don't know what it could be, but that's just my theory on it, because most child abductions or disappearance, somebody knows that kid. It's not a random act. I mean, like I say, she disappeared on Highway 18, and that early morning hours, I know it's a busy highway, but that early in the morning, there's not that much traffic. So a random stranger who's out looking for a child to abduct, I would say is probably less likely to be on that highway, and more likely to be somebody that knew Asha Degree personally that lured her out of the house. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, for my final thoughts, I don't know. It's been 19 years. It's hard to say. I mean, hope above all hopes that she's alive and she'll come back home one day. But then that leads to questions that I don't even like thinking about. Where's she been? What might have been, the conditions she was in. Stuff I don't want to, like I say, I don't know how the family can deal with it daily. I know it'd probably drive me insane.
All right, when it comes to me, like I've said some things. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not pretending to be one. I can go by what Donnie tells me. I know very, very, very little about, what happened when it comes to the investigation and really the process. I can just say that there's only at least 3 people who know what happened to her. That'd be Asha herself, God, and then whoever was involved. And if it was foul play, I don't know how they live. I don't know how they sleep. I don't know how they can take a breath knowing that they had something to do with it. If it wasn't, she's still out there. There's a reason. Nobody knows but her. Hopefully she's happy, healthy, if she is. As a dad, I don't know which scenario would be better in my mind, knowing that your daughter's alive and don't want to come home, or that she's not and she ain't gonna come home anyway. It's a sad deal. Only thing I can say is that she did go to church, so at least she isn't alone no matter what scenario. And I feel for the parents and I feel for the family, and hopefully more stuff comes out and it gets resolved one way or the other. And yeah, I learned a lot of new things today.
Well, just a final follow-up on this. I've heard Asha's mother, Aquila, say before, I don't know the exact, I'm not going to quote her, it's just verbatim for what she said, but Asha's mother, I've heard her say that if God has Asha's soul, then he hasn't told her. So that's keeping her hope alive that Asha's still out there somewhere and hoping she'll come home. We just wanted to do this podcast, like I said, to keep Asha's story alive. It's the anniversary of her disappearance on February the 14th of this year. We want everybody to share this podcast, to like, subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review, whatever podcast app you listen to us on, give us a thumbs up or whatever review they offer. I want to thank Chris and Bill for enduring through this. Podcast was my brainchild. And I appreciate these guys weighing in on this podcast today.
And guys, as you can tell, we didn't agree on everything, and just like y'all want, y'all will either think one way or the other. So if you leave me comments, don't attack each other or really us, because it's just all opinions. Because that's all we have to go by is opinions and theories. We can guess and guess and guess, but like I said, we don't know what happened. So be nice, please. Just be nice to one another and like to us. I mean, we're not trying to throw any kind of blame on anybody here. We're just openly discussing this.
Exactly. All right, guys, we're out of here. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about us. This is the Crack House Chronicles.